Jay Leno, the famous American TV host, is saying goodbye after getting some health news that shocked his fans. His body used to be tough. It survived burns and broken bones. But now he's facing something much harder. Many sources say he has canceled lots of shows and is getting ready for the biggest change in his life. What's really going on? The full truth about Jay Leno's health problems and his surprising decision will be told right now. On November 12, 2022, Jay Leno had a bad accident in his personal garage in Burbank, California. He was fixing his old 1907 white steam car when the fuel line got blocked. Suddenly, gasoline sprayed all over his face and then caught on fire. The flames covered his body and gave him serious burns on his face, chest, and both hands. About 7% of his body was burned. Jay was quickly taken to the Grossman Burn Center at West Hills Hospital in Los Angeles. Dr. Peter Grossman, the doctor who took care of him, told reporters at a news conference that Jay had burns on about 7% of his body. Jay said, "I was trying to unclog it, and I said, let's blow some air through the line and see if we can clear it. Then suddenly, boom! I got a face full of gas. Then the pilot light jumped up, and my face caught on fire." The doctors had to do 2 skin graft surgeries on Jay. They also used special oxygen therapy to help his skin heal and make the scars less noticeable. After 10 days in the hospital, Jay was allowed to go home on November 21, 2022. The hospital said in an official announcement that he would need to keep coming back for checkups and more treatment. During this time, his face was still red, and his arms were completely wrapped in bandages. But Jay stayed positive. He talked to reporters, said thank you to the medical team, and told everyone he was doing okay. Jay's longtime friend Dave Kelleher was in the garage when the accident happened. In an interview, he said it was really scary. Dave was the one who ran in to put out the fire and pulled Jay away from the flames that were shooting from the engine. He said the garage filled up with smoke in just seconds. Gasoline was spreading all over the floor. If Dave hadn't acted so fast, Jay could have been hurt much worse. After leaving the hospital, Jay didn't rest much at all. He showed up on stage at the Comedy and Magic Club in Hermosa Beach, a place where he had been performing for over 30 years. People noticed that his hands were still wrapped in bandages. His face had scars on it, but his voice sounded the same as always. When he talked about the moment in the garage, Jay gave a small smile and said, "My face was on fire." The audience stood up and clapped loudly when he finished his opening jokes. Jay performed for more than an hour that night. He didn't avoid talking about the accident at all. He treated it like it was just another part of his job. According to confirmed information from the hospital and big news outlets, Jay's burns were serious, but doctors said he would fully recover. Dr. Grossman said Jay responded really well to the treatment and didn't get any infections. At that time, Jay said no to all suggestions to postpone his shows. He told the people who worked at the theater that he needed to keep working to stay in his normal routine. His performance schedule started up again at the end of November. Less than 2 weeks after the burn accident, before people could even forget about it, Jay faced another problem. This time it wasn't fire. It was a real crash of metal, bone, and determination. The series of accidents made the media wonder, how could he still get up and keep performing? It was one fall after another. On January 17, 2023, Jay Leno was test riding an old 1940 Indian motorcycle in Las Vegas when another accident happened. A cable was stretched across a parking lot with no warning signs, and it knocked him right off the bike. The crash was so hard that Jay broke his collarbone, fractured 2 ribs, and cracked both kneecaps. In an interview with the Las Vegas Review-Journal, he said briefly, "I got knocked off my motorcycle, so I've got a broken collarbone, 2 broken ribs, and 2 cracked kneecaps." This accident happened only 2 months after the burn accident in his garage. Fans were really worried because his health kept getting worse and worse. Jay was taken to a local hospital and treated for several days. Then he went back to performing. The doctors told him to rest for at least 2 weeks, but he said no. His show schedule stayed exactly the same. In the shows after that, Jay wore an arm brace and moved around slowly. He even joked on stage that he was getting a frequent flyer discount from the ambulance service. American news covered the story a lot. Some talk shows called it the second accident in less than one winter. Both his co-workers and audiences were shocked that he didn't take a break from work. Many people said that Jay had a rare work ethic. Not many entertainers from his generation worked as hard as he did. Doctors at the hospital said his injuries needed at least 6 weeks to heal properly. Even so, just a few days after the motorcycle crash, Jay showed up at a charity event. He shook hands, posed for photos, and smiled when people asked how he was feeling. He was so calm that many people said, "He doesn't even seem to know what pain is." 10 months later, on the night of November 16, 2024, Jay had yet another accident. He was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, getting ready for a show when he slipped and fell down a 60-foot hill behind the Hampton Inn Hotel. He fell really hard, hit his head on a rock, broke his wrist, bruised his face badly, and lost a fingernail. In an interview with Inside Edition, Jay smiled a little and said, "I fell down a hill and hit my head on a rock." He explained that the fall happened suddenly when he was trying to find a shortcut to the parking lot. He forced himself to get up so he wouldn't be late for the show. When hotel workers offered to call an ambulance, he only asked them to wrap up his wrist with a bandage. That night's show still happened on schedule. When he walked on stage, his face was swollen and covered in bruises, and his right eye was almost completely closed. Jay started with a joke, saying his right eye was on vacation, and then performed for more than an hour. The audience laughed really hard, and then gave him a standing ovation when he was done. Photos taken in Pittsburgh spread all over the internet really fast. Many people saw the visible wounds on his face, but his smile stayed the same. The media called it a testament to endurance from the veteran TV host who had survived 2 serious accidents in less than 2 years without canceling even a single show. Several of his co-workers said that Jay kept driving himself to his performances. Even after all these accidents, he never hired a personal assistant. He just brought a few suits and his microphone with him. Through all these accidents and injuries, Jay's schedule stayed above 150 shows every year. He kept traveling from state to state, mostly performing in small theaters. The falls on stage and off stage didn't stop Jay, but a family tragedy eventually made him slow down. When the spotlight went dark, the real test for the artist began in the most private place of all, beside the wife who had shared more than 4 decades of his life. The final farewell. On January 26, 2024, Jay Leno filed a petition with the Los Angeles court to become the legal guardian of his wife. Han Na's father to Spreder, Mavis Leno. The legal papers said that she had been diagnosed with advanced dementia. She had lost the ability to manage money and needed help with everyday things. Jay was listed as the only guardian in the filing. A medical report given to the court by Dr. Hart Cohen on April 2, 2024, said, "She sometimes does not know her husband, Jay, nor her date of birth." The report confirmed symptoms of short-term memory loss and not knowing where she was. The court looked at the petition quickly and scheduled a hearing within 2 months. On April 9, 2024, the ruling was announced. Jay Leno's request was approved. Attorney Ronald Ostrin, who represented Mavis, said after the hearing, "Mavis does not object to the petition and agrees with it. Mr. Leno is her protector, and she trusts him." During the hearing, Jay showed up with his lawyer. He was calm and quiet. He didn't make a long speech. He only said that his biggest wish was to make sure his wife was safe and financially secure. The court's decision gave him full authority to make medical, legal, and financial decisions for Mavis when needed. In a later interview, Jay Leno said briefly, "She's fine. Everybody's good. We're doing well. I just set up a will in case something happens." His voice was calm and accepting. He treated his wife's illness as a natural part of getting older. His voice stayed steady, clear, and gently hopeful. After the court made its decision, Jay changed his entire performance schedule. He canceled long-distance tours and only accepted local shows around California so he could come home every night. Some co-workers shared that he personally cooked meals, took care of his wife, and took her for walks around their small garden in Beverly Hills. The stage slowly replaced the road. Close friends of the family said Jay kept a very consistent daily routine. In the morning, he took Mavis for walks. In the afternoon, he checked on the cars in his garage. And at night, he read the newspaper with her. A reporter met Jay at a small charity event in June 2024. When the reporter asked about his life now, he said briefly that the time he spent with Mavis meant more to him than any fame. The answer showed a clear change in what mattered most to him after more than 4 decades in the spotlight. According to close sources, Mavis continued getting regular treatment at a memory care facility in Los Angeles. Jay always went with her to every appointment. Dr. Cohen confirmed that she responded well to the medication that helps maintain her condition. Though her memory had gotten much worse, Jay kept all the medical details private. He only shared them with a small circle of friends and family. In October 2024, Jay went back to perform at a small club in Hollywood. The 90-minute show had appearances from several longtime co-workers. Most of the audience didn't notice that he had lost almost 10 kilograms, about 22 pounds. He still carried himself with the same confidence and told stories in his sharp, unhurried way. Amid the quiet years of taking care of his wife, memories of Jay's amazing career kept coming back. His toughness and work ethic came from the past. The years when late-night laughter had lifted his name to the top of American television. The ups and downs of a beginning. Jay Leno was born on April 28, 1950, in New Rochelle, New York. He grew up in a middle-class family. His father worked in insurance and his mother was a homemaker. From a very young age, Jay had a natural sense of humor. He often copied his teachers' voices to make his classmates laugh. That simple joy became the first spark of a lifelong journey in comedy. While studying communications at Emerson College in Boston, Jay started performing stand-up comedy at small clubs. He went to school, wrote comedy sketches, and created short routines to make money. After he graduated, he moved to Los Angeles, where television was really popular and there were lots of opportunities for young performers. In 1977, Jay made his first appearance on The Tonight Show as a guest performer. The short comedy set earned him recognition from the public. From then on, he became a regular guest on many different entertainment programs. He slowly built a reputation for his smart, simple, and easy-to-relate-to humor. In the early 1990s, the legendary host Johnny Carson was getting ready to retire. NBC, the television network, started searching for someone to replace him. Jay Leno was chosen after many test runs. In 1992, he officially became the host of The Tonight Show. This marked the start of a new era in American late-night television. For more than 2 decades, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno became like an important tradition. Every night, an average of 5 million people watched. Jay opened every episode with gentle jokes about things happening in the news. Then he interviewed guests, from movie stars to politicians, and he always kept a cheerful and friendly tone. His co-workers called him the keeper of the late-night rhythm. During that time, Jay kept performing stand-up comedy on weekends. He said that facing live audiences helped him stay grounded and connected to real people. Viewers liked him not only because he was a good host, but also because of his amazing work ethic. He was known for arriving at the studio earlier than anyone else. In 2009, Jay temporarily left the show and gave the host job to Conan O'Brien. But just a year later, he came back when NBC changed its programming schedule. The change caused a lot of controversy and arguments, but Jay stayed silent. He focused on his work and kept hosting until 2014. When The Tonight Show aired its very last episode with Jay, the studio became quiet. Jay looked at the audience and said slowly, "This has been the greatest 22 years of my life." It was the moment that closed the most amazing chapter of his television career. He repeated the words of Johnny Carson, his predecessor and the person he deeply admired. "I bid you all a heartfelt good night." The simple line sounded like both a farewell and a tribute. It marked the end of a late-night era that had touched millions of American viewers. At the time, the media called it the warmest ending in American television. Articles from that period said that he had set a new standard for the talk show format. He blended humor and warmth with respect for his guests. During that period, Jay started collecting vintage cars, a passion he'd had since he was a kid. His garage in Burbank slowly became like a private museum. It housed hundreds of rare cars and motorcycles. Despite his busy work schedule, Jay joked that fixing cars was the best kind of rest a person could have. When he left The Tonight Show, Jay never said he was retiring. He simply said it was time for another generation to take over the job. He kept touring all over the United States, performing stand-up comedy in small theaters where familiar laughter still filled the room. When The Tonight Show ended, many people thought Jay would step away from the stage completely. Instead, he chose a different path. A quiet, unexpected one. Rather than studio lights, he turned toward engines, oil, and the joy of working with his hands. It was the beginning of a new journey that would take its own turn after midnight. A turn at a new crossroad. In 2015, he launched a TV show called Jay Leno's Garage on the CNBC network. The series quickly became a favorite place for car lovers to watch. Jay served as both the host and storyteller. Jay's garage looked like a personal museum. He owned more than 180 cars and around 160 motorcycles. They ranged from rare classics like the Chrysler Turbine car to super expensive supercars like the McLaren F1. Each vehicle had its own story, and Jay carefully maintained them all in a huge space that was thousands of square meters big in Burbank. The show attracted viewers not just because of the huge collection, but also because of the special guests. Jay once sat down with Tesla founder Elon Musk to talk about the future of electric cars. He also met with President Joe Biden to discuss their shared passion for machines. Episodes with them often had the highest ratings of the season. In every episode, Jay didn't just show off the cars. He drove them, looked closely at their engines, traced their history, and talked about how valuable they were to collectors. His natural humorous tone let viewers feel the pure joy of a man who truly loved machines. To him, a car wasn't just something to look at. It was proof of human perseverance and amazing engineering. After 7 seasons, the show ended in 2022. CNBC announced a programming change, while Jay stayed quiet. He didn't think of it as an ending. He saw it as a chance to move to a new platform. Soon after, he started a YouTube channel, also called Jay Leno's Garage. New test drive videos kept being uploaded every week. On YouTube, Jay kept his style simple and unpolished. He focused on real visuals and the raw sound of engines. Viewers could see him wiping windshields, checking tires, and sharing thoughts about driving vintage car models. The videos got millions of views, turning his personal garage into a brand known all over the world. Along with his car projects, Jay came back to television with a game show called You Bet Your Life. It aired from 2021 to 2023. He co-hosted it with comedian Kevin Eubanks. He brought back the same easy humor that had defined The Tonight Show. The game show quickly built a steady audience and kept Jay's presence alive in the hearts of his fans. Through his busy schedule, Jay kept living a very disciplined lifestyle. In an interview with Forbes magazine, he said, "I haven't spent any of the money NBC has paid me over the years." He explained that for decades, he had lived only on the income from his stand-up comedy shows. He never touched the money he earned from television. He didn't smoke, didn't drink alcohol, and only slept 4 hours every night. Many people describe Jay as an artist who doesn't know how to rest. Every year, he kept touring and performing around 150 shows all over the United States. He often drove himself to the venues, brought his own microphone and suits, and didn't need a big crew. That simplicity made audiences feel close to him, like they were seeing an old friend again. According to DuPont Registry, a magazine about expensive cars, in 2024, Jay's car collection was worth tens of millions of dollars. Some rare cars had been bought from museums, restored, and later donated to charity foundations. Even though he was incredibly wealthy, he still showed up in old shirts and blue jeans. It was an image that couldn't be separated from his oil-stained garage. In an entertainment world that changes every single day, Jay Leno chose to steer in a quieter direction. He stepped away from dazzling studios and went back to engines, exhaust fumes, and simple stories about craftsmanship. It wasn't an ending, it was a continuation, calm and full of energy. If you grew up with Jay Leno's laughter, share your thoughts below. What do you think keeps him working after all these years? And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to catch more stories about people who have stepped beyond the spotlight but never left behind their passion.